Welcome to my channel, Ken here. Today let's take a look at the Audeze MM-100. Let's go! Even though Audeze sent these to me, your thoughts and opinions are mine and mine alone. I left the link below if you should be interested in purchasing these. It's at no cost to you, but they'll help my channel. Please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. I'll appreciate that. The MM-100s are designed and derived from the lineage of the LCD-5 and then the MM-500, which was developed in collaboration with Manny Marroquin, I think his name is pronounced. He's a well-known mixer in the industry. So you want a pair of headphones and you develop them. And this is the trickle-down version of it. This is the MM-100. And you can see that if I show you the LCD-5s and the 100s, there's a striking similarity between the two of them. But there are a lot of differences between the LCD-5 and the MM-100. These are 10 times more expensive. So it's remarkable that they were able to get these down to $400. So really, these are their least expensive headphones that are made by Audeze. The headphones has this 1/8" plug that you can plug in on either side. I choose left side, and that's because most headphones have it on the left side, so I don't get confused what's left and right on the headphones. At the other end here, it has a 1/4 inch. This is the supplied cable. It comes with an adapter that looks like this. So now it's an 1/8 inch that you can then use on your phone with these little adapters. And I have to say, it sounds really good on my phone as well. It can't play super loud and it kind of drains the battery a little bit, but that's okay. It sounds good. They weigh 475 grams, which is slightly on the heavy side if you're used to much lighter headphones. However, I have to say that they're very, very comfortable. They don't slip. The clamp force is perfect. There's one thing I can't stand, and that is if headphones start slipping and sliding and moving around when I'm moving around. That is very annoying to me. So these stay put, and I appreciate that. Obviously, they are planar magnetic headphones, which is a diaphragm suspended over a magnet system where there's a current running through the diaphragm and therefore create vibration, therefore sound. They're very sensitive at 98 dBs. They have a pretty low impedance at 18 ohms, and therefore I recommend that you have a headphone amp that actually has some juice in it to get the most out of these. They also have what I call the Audeze sound, so they fit right into the rest of the range of the Audeze headphones as far as the sound is concerned. And it's remarkable how, with all the compromises that had to be made to hit this price point, that they sound as good as they do. You get a 60-day return if you don't like them. How about that? And the thing is about these headphones is that if you look here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little holes here. So you have to unsnap these 2 pins to change the height of it. That's one of the compromises, of course, if multiple people have to use these headphones continuously. That might not be the best solution. If you look at this like these pins here that slides up and down on the rest of the Audeze range, which of course is a little more convenient to adjust. So that's a little compromise that had to be made. The other thing is, obviously the connection point here, when the MM-500, for example, has, XLR plugs like the LCD-5 here. So these are substantially more solid, and they lock on. Of course, the cable itself is not as refined and as expensive, using as expensive materials as some of the other ones, so that will be another little compromise. However, this is an outstanding entry point into the Audeze range. So how do they sound? Well, they have the Audeze sound for sure, especially through the mid-range. And since most music lives in the mid-range, if you like that kind of sound from the Audeze line of products, well, you're going to get it here for sure. However, compared to, let's say, the 10 times more expensive LCD-5s, there's a noticeable difference in detail and the top end smoothness and the low bass, but they're also 10 times more expensive. Compared to the MM-500, well, I don't have them currently in the studios, but I did do a review of the MM-500 about a year ago, and I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to check that video out. I think that compared to the MM-500, they're not as forward sounding, which is one of my comments that I made on the MM-500. I compared them to the LCD-X's, the LCD-5, and that I have currently in the studio, and a couple other headphones. And I definitely had got a good idea of what they sound like. I used a Chord Alto as my reference headphone amp, as well as a benchmark HPA4, both of high-end amplifiers. But I also tried it on various other things I have in the studio. The Cranboard audio headphone amps, and my audio interface is a Link, so I tried it through that as well. Now, they're pretty efficient, but with a low impedance. None of them had any trouble actually playing pretty loud on these. I mean, they play pretty loud. I never felt the sound was strained in any way. But let's compare to the siblings from the rest of the range of the Audeze. Well, the compromises had to be made in order to hit that price point. And the good news is that the mid-range stays pretty intact. They're not as detailed as some of the more expensive siblings. They lack a little bit of smoothness in the top end, and the bottom end is not as full, fast, and powerful as the rest of the range. However, you can EQ that bottom end up and get a little more bass out of them. No problem. They didn't sweat when I did that at all. They took it with ease. Do I find these useful in the studio? You bet, because that mid-range is really, really useful. If you do a lot of, let's say, orchestral stuff, or you deal with a lot of guitars, vocals, mid-range synthesizers and stuff like that, they're more than adequate. As a matter of fact, I think they're great. I did a mix on them, and I checked it against the other headphones, and it didn't feel like there was any issues with the mix. Do I feel like they're comfortable to listen to, and do I feel like they are a pleasant experience? You bet. I think they're very comfortable. Now, are there other headphones in this price range that are competitive with them? Well, I heard the Hyphaman Sondara. They're also planar magnetic headphones. They sounded very good to me. I think they're a little more hyped and a little more technicolor, if you want to call it that, whereas these are more brutally honest. And in the studio, we want brutally honest at all costs, because we don't want to make mistakes. They might not be the most flattering to the music. They might not be the most engaging in some ways. But look, for that kind of price point, I think they still are very engaging and very pleasant to listen to, but they're also honest. So that's the most important thing if you want to listen to them in a studio context. And that's what they're being promoted as for studio. So I find them very, very useful in the studio, and I wouldn't hesitate to use them in any kind of production. I find them comfortable, I find them useful, and I can easily get used to them. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take care.